To start with you. This is a big anniversary coming up, 80. It's hard to imagine that number, but you're celebrating it in part by dedicating a new home, celebrating a new home as well. Tell us what's going on.
So the Tuskegee Airmen started March 22nd, 1941, and we wanted to celebrate that as the beginning of African Americans in military aviation. We would like to celebrate that, plus announce the opening of our new home at the Charles H. Wright.
And talk about why you're moving to Charles H. Wright Museum.
So there were folks in the community and the Ford Fund through Pamela Alexander who thought that our old location, which was historic Fort Wayne since 1987, needed updating. And she was right. Our exhibits needed updating, some preserving, and a body with intelligence was the Charles H. Wright Museum. They had the curators who were able to do that. So we worked out an agreement for 10 years, and we'll be in their building for the next 10 years.
Wow. Yeah. Pam, talk about the Ford Motor Fund's interest in this great idea.
Well, you know, the Ford Motor Company and the Ford Fund, we've been supporters of the Tuskegee Airmen and the museum for a long time. You know, we're a legacy company. We've been around a long time. It's in our DNA. And so this partnership has been very important to us, whether it's, you know, when the airmen won the gold medal, Congressional Gold Medal, and we did the celebration on the Hill, to our documentary on two of the airmen that we are gracious and blessed to have here in Detroit, Lieutenant Colonel Jefferson and Colonel Stewart. There's a long history there. And we have so many treasures in Detroit, as you know, Stephen, and everyone who's watching knows. We have the airmen, and we also have the Charles H. Wright. So what an incredible opportunity to combine those treasures and bring this history into an amazing facility so that so many people can see what the airmen are about. They're legends. People think they know the story, but they don't know all of the stories. So Ford is really excited to be presenting sponsor of this museum inside the Charles H. Wright that will tell their story to so many from around the world.
Lieutenant Colonel Jefferson, it's hard to imagine how long ago all this happened, but for you, this was a firsthand experience. Tell us about joining the Tuskegee Airmen.
Golly, that's a lifetime. Well, mainly, you got to understand, all men considered for the 99 had to be college graduates. This is part of the whole training of being a pilot. I used to tell nobody wants a dum-dum. I'm serious. In order to be a pilot, even the whites, the program itself, the 9 months, the war took all the men who were college graduates, and then they had to take high school graduates and put them through 3 months of concentrated math and science to get them along. And it was interesting, exciting, awfully exciting. I can't explain how exciting it was.
And the idea that this of course made you into a pilot, which, you know, that's something you get to keep for the rest of your life. Tell us what that's meant after the war, being a pilot.
Well, after the war, I wanted to be a pilot, but the opportunity was not there because racism, segregation, discrimination denied many of us the opportunity to fly. Some stayed in the military. These are the men who were college graduates, no, high school graduates, who went through 3 months of extra training. And when the war ended, they had an obligation to stay in, and the service allowed them to stay in. And these are the ones who actually flew Korea and further. But I was kicked out, literally, and became a teacher.
Hmm.
And
Another high calling, though.
it
Yeah,
was exciting to be a teacher,
I can
to
imagine.
teach 6th, 7th, and 8th grades science, and you're trying to get across an idea and have the youngster look at you all of a sudden and say, "Oh yeah, bingo."
Right. That they actually
That's,
understand.
that's the best feeling at all.
Yeah. Brian, Lieutenant Colonel Jefferson's memories, of course, are part of what you guys are celebrating at the museum. It's amazing to hear their stories, but it's also really amazing to be able to have them in the way that you do at the museum, and to be able to share them with
Yeah.
people.
One of the main reasons for our museum, I'm sorry, is escaped. We want to emphasize Blacks in aviation, starting with the people who started in Chicago and other Blacks who started. It's a hard road, and there's a display. Ryan, where's that display of St. Louis?
Yes, we have several murals in airports around the country, Los Angeles, St. Louis, and there might be one in Denver.
Well, this is the one put out by St. Louis, with all starting out with Bessie Coleman and all the ones people in Chicago, and including all the Tuskegee Airmen,
Yes,
even space. Blacks have gone into space.
Yeah.
and the museum tries to cover the history of African Americans in aviation. We do start with Bessie Coleman and end up with today's fighter that is Red Tail, in honor of the Tuskegee Airmen. The Air Force has named a fighter Red Hawk in honor of the Tuskegee Airmen. Our mission is to inspire young people to not only pursue careers in aviation, but aerospace science. We want them to go to Mars.
Yeah.
So having Colonel Jefferson and Harry Stewart around, it's great to get them together, listen to their stories you don't hear in their books. And it's amazing to have them inspire the young people. We had a session the other day where we had current commercial airline pilots along with our students here at the museum who are learning to fly, and to have them talk to the airmen. It was an inspiration both ways. The airmen were very proud of today's commercial airline pilots and today's students who are learning to fly. And of course, all of them hold in high regard the airmen. We realize we're standing on their shoulders. And it's an honor for me to be able to honor them with the continuation of the museum. We really thank the Ford Fund, Pamela Alexander, for their long-term and continued support of our programs here in Detroit.
Yeah, but Pam, the sharing of this knowledge and history with the next generation, I know that is a big part of what the Ford Motor Fund is focused on here too.
Absolutely. We're about celebrating legacy, but you honor and you celebrate by making sure it doesn't end. And the work that the museum and Brian and his team are doing to make sure that youth are exposed to careers in aviation and STEM all along with it is crucial. I don't know the exact statistic, but I know that I've been told that there are fewer African-American pilots now than there were just after the war, if I'm not mistaken. So, we have to have things like this museum that are carrying this legacy into the future, that are letting young kids get, the opportunity to see what pilots do, to fly planes, to learn about their aviation and aerospace. It's really key to the next generation, because that's really how you honor the Tuskegee Airmen, is that you carry on their legacy.